Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner. We're another episode of VSW. Thank you, everybody. It's your boy here, Versace Stoner, alongside
with the Sable here
with another episode of VSW. Tonight, we're going to sit down and talk with the BC Kid. Here he is right now calling in. What is up, BC Kid?
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
Not too bad, just chilling.
Nice. Good day for it.
Yeah, right?
Can't beat that. So what's new in your neck of the woods? You know, things are starting to open back up. World's starting to get a little normalized again.
Yeah, we got a few promotions that are opening up again, so that's a good sign.
Really good sign indeed.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. A lot of our fan base probably don't know you.
So basically, I started training back in the fall of 2018 under Brickhouse Baker and made my debut at House of Bricks in November. Well, technically, it was a Battle Royal before my true debut. It was like April of 2019, I want to say.
Yep.
And my last match that I had was against AJP at RWA back right before the pandemic happened. So over a year of no in-ring competition is driving me crazy. So
as soon as that day hit and the world shut down, you were pretty much at a dead standstill then.
Yeah, kinda.
And you know, I did see that RWA match with AGP. That was great. A fantastic matchup. You're really starting to get into the game, and all of a sudden, everything just gets pulled from you.
Yeah, well, AJP, he's been doing his thing for a while now, so he was already doing his thing way even before the pandemic was even a thought, so.
Oh yeah, he's been doing it for a bit, he's making great waves. He's got a couple matches coming up. I know a good title shot at Proving Ground. So he's definitely making his rounds back again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And how about yourself? Do you have any, is Brickhouse still running?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't really heard much about him training-wise.
Yeah, I know a few of the schools. I mean, obviously a lot. Actually, I think about at one point all the schools had to close down. And I know some are starting to open up. I don't know so much about the Mass and Rhode Island ones yet. I know Maine, I can go and train a little bit if I wanted to, I believe.
Yeah, Lewis has a good school going right there, so.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. I actually, as an older fan, whatever, I'm starting to. I used to amateur box, and I used to do all that kind of stuff. But now I'm kind of looking to get into the ring a little bit, learn the ropes myself.
Oh no shit! Oh wait, can I say that on here?
Oh, you certainly can.
All right, cool. That's cool to make sure.
But yeah, I'm looking to actually, get into that. And Limitless is actually one of the schools, I was actually looking at that, or New England Pro Academy. A lot of greats come out of there.
Yeah, that was the best if I had to recommend one.
Yeah. And also,
everyone there's a prospect, and you can't go wrong with them. You can't go wrong.
No. You can't. Another one I really honestly have enjoyed and I look at is Bell Time. They've produced some great stars. I heard Bu Douglas is a great trainer, an old school person, but he gets the job done.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I love Bo Douglas, so.
Yeah, he really does. He's one of my favorite, people that I would say, I find on Facebook. I have a whole bunch of just Facebook people. I think that's even how I met you, is just through Facebook. And I get to know certain people. I get to see what they post, and if it's somebody I like, I start to get to talk to them and get to know them. And Bu's definitely one of those people. During the pandemic, I got to know a little bit better, and definitely started to follow. so many people I've met, during the actual pandemic. It's the one good thing that I was able to, accomplish was to launch this podcast, and to really get, all the stuff that's been happening in the last few years kind of in the indie scene together, put it, kind of section it up and, put it in a direction that I wanted to go to get everybody kind of names out there. That was the whole point of this podcast original. I would go to NCW shows, I'd look around, I'd see, the crowd. It'd be, a good crowd, but it's still an indie show crowd, which is nothing compared to what you're going to see at a WWE show or any other show that's big. And, you got these people that are kicking each other's asses, giving it all they got for us fans in the crowd, but they're not getting that same recognition that the TV stars are getting. And the only difference is because no one's seeing them. So my whole mission was to start getting these people seen, known.
I want independent wrestling to be as big or close to big as our Boston sports teams are in terms of recognition. That's my main goal.
And that's kind of where we launched this podcast. And I was able to do that with the pandemic and get to meet people. That was the only benefit of the pandemic and staying home, for all those months, was to get to set this all up.
Yeah, I mean, like the New England area, I've said it once and I'll say it again. I will make an argument that it's the best area for independent wrestling. I'll make that argument every single time.
Oh, I do, and I do the same. I take it very seriously. I defend this New England scene, with my life when it comes down to it. Almost everybody that's come through here or that's in here right now is either, besides, their in-ring abilities, they're just really good people if you get to know and talk to them.
Oh, absolutely. That is 1,000% the truth. Like, I've got to meet so many great people because of it. Like, Waves and Curls, Channing Thomas, to name a few.
MSP, they're one of my favorite humans, out there. Isana, another one of my favorite humans. I say it like that because, they bring humanity to the world. They show you a side of humanity that we don't get to see every day, and they really bring us together. Not just, the wrestlers and the people that work shows, but the fans too. It's just a good overall positive message that they spread. And you don't see that very often on social media at all anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
It's become just kind of a shit posting for clout kind of scene.
That's one way to look at it.
We here, we do things different. I'll never down a promotion. I'll never down a show, even if it's botched to hell. That's part of the business. Botches happen on every show, from the littlest ones to the biggest ones. You actually don't even notice them though at indie shows because they just. Not all eyes are on them, and you're at the show, and you're looking around, you're looking at the fans, you don't even see the botches. You do notice them on TV, and it's kind of funny that people, get all bent out of shape, but if, you ever sit front row at a show, you can catch a lot of them if you focus. It's just part of nature. It's part of what it is. It's been the same way for, 75 years.
Probably even longer.
Yeah, even longer, if you want to get back to even before, the carny days. And, you can go to Greek wrestling and all that. It's definitely, it's been done the same way.
Yeah.
And I just hate how, fans will just get on a promotion because of, one incident or one accident that happened. Or, if nobody gets hurt and no one, is severely injured and it's just a technical error or just, a miscalculated move, but there's no injury, there's no foul there for me. There's no issue. People do it in baseball. They miss shot. In basketball, they miss shots. In baseball,
hockey,
they error.
They
in
miss
hockey,
one-timers.
They miss one-timers. In football, there's so many penalty kicks that get missed. Nobody talks about all that for days and days and days and quit watching the sport because,
Unless you're in Boston if the Pats lose because of it.
But they don't go on social media and will scream, "I'm never watching the Patriots again," because the guy missed a field goal. At one botch and everybody's like, "I'm not watching Raw anymore."
Same thing with AEW's pay-per-view with Revolution.
It is what it is.
I stopped watching Raw for a different reason.
Yeah. And, and I like talking to fans wrestlers like you. I'm sorry, I call you a fan too, but you are a fan of wrestling. But, different than myself. I grew up in, that 80s era, so I started with, Hogan, Macho Man, all those guys that are now pretty much, irrelevant or canceled out.
So I was born into the new generation, Shawn Michaels, Bret hard era, and then I was a kindergartner for the Attitude, but my main era was into the Ruthless Aggression, so I'm blessed to have somewhat mainstream wrestling in my life.
But then you started, like, even later, right?
Yeah, although I did watch a lot of, like, the Ruthless Aggression when I was, like, really younger, so... So around that time, I was, like, with Edge, Randy Orton, Umaga.
Yeah.
But you missed, like I said, that... So it's like, it's just that generational gap, I feel like... It produces different wrestlers because, like, granted, the 80s and 90s is great wrestling, but so isn't, you know, the 2000s and 2010s. It's just different. Every era of wrestling to me is great. They just have different styles, different, you know. I could say at the time, you know, when I was 5 or 6, yeah, Hulk Hogan was great to be a fan of because that's what was the thing to do. It was hitting my age.
Oh my God, he was like the face of, like, not just wrestling, but like entertainment in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was popping up in Rock. He was popping up on TV. You know, and then that was, you know, around the same right age, prime picking from when Bret Hart took the face of the company. You know, and I was
Shawn Michaels.
and then exactly, as it went a little bit on, I was also at the right age as a young adult teen for the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. But, like, going back now, I can say all those eras, yeah, they had good matches, but they weren't as hype as I was when I was in them, living them.
Hey, real quick. Stone Cold or The Rock? Who was your pick?
What is it?
Stone Cold or The Rock? Who was your pick?
For me, it has to be honest with you, I think it has to be The Rock.
For me, it's Stone Cold because that Mania in Boston is what really got me into wrestling. So I love The Rock too, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like Brady and Peyton Manning in terms of wrestling back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I would have to say The Rock just because his mic skills. Yes, Austin was great on the mic, don't get me wrong. I was a huge fan of his WCW and ECW days. He was...
Yeah, back when he had hair.
Exactly, back when he was with Pillman and all of that, and, you know, he was the Hollywood Blondes. Great time. But, you know, and when he first entered the WWE, I even liked him under, you know, $1 Million Man. He was doing that stuff as well. And then he broke out, and he came 316. And, you know, he was a great superstar, but there was just something about The Rock. From the Nation of Domination, first of all, I was a heel guy. I always will be a heel guy. The Rock did some of his best heel work, you know, in the Nation, as he took it over from Farouk, as he, you know, brought it to the mainstream, and then, you know, broke out of that and really just became the star. You know, when he was the People's Champion, running around with his Brahma Bull belt, you know, taking on Mankind, taking on Austin. For me, there was like, I was very happy with that. Yes, Austin was a good champion, and he was probably, a lot of people are going to say he was the face of the Attitude Era. But for me, I really think, you know, The Rock brought the attitude as well. And just his promo work and just the way he just wrestled, his movesets, his charisma, just everything about him.
Yeah. And those were the best times for wrestling, when you had two people as you could say, as the face. Like, because you had Hulk Hogan and Macho Man in the 80s, and you had Stone Cold and The Rock in, like, the 90s. So those were, like, the best times for wrestling.
Exactly.
You want to go to, like, Ruthless Aggression, John Cena and Randy Orton.
But Randy Orton
and then
they wanted him to be the face of the company, but he refused to be a babyface most of his career.
No, but then they got lucky with Lesnar, and Lesnar kind of played that heel role, and he was a good pickup for that time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Lesnar was awesome.
If he never left for the NFL to try out for the Vikings, I think he would have had as much reigns as Ric Flair and John Cena has.
Of course, but he was just such a physical guy that he wanted more, and, you know, and he did great things, and, you know, he still to this day is probably one of my favorite wrestlers of the newer generation of wrestlers.
Well, I'm going to say who I think is the best wrestler of all the 2000s.
Let's hear it.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he's
an Olympic gold medalist. What more do I need to say?
Exactly. I mean, besides his, like, real life feats, but even his in-ring capabilities, all that he's done for the company from, you know, that late 90s when he entered into WWE, and all the way in even to his TNA days, and then back to WWE. You know, he's always put his body on the line. He's always put his he's always put himself on the line. He just comes out, he lets them chant, "You suck." He doesn't care. He does it all for the sport. And, that's sometimes what it's about. A lot of wrestlers in this era right now get really bent if they're not, being liked. Even if they're the heel, they want to be liked. That's not how it kind of works. You have to draw heat. You can't always have a...
You're a bad guy. Come on.
You're a bad guy, and you'll see them crying on social media that, I don't have a fan base. Well, your job is to be a heel. I mean,
Exactly.
that's how it works.
The funniest thing, though, and I still don't understand it, is when a heel's out there trying to get the audience to hate them, yet you see them at intermission, they're trying to sell T-shirts. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'll say this. Me personally, I don't mind that just because I like the heels, and I would prefer to get. And most of the heels are cool, and they're always usually like champions. Like if I was at an NCW show, my first 3 picks would be to meet Mike Montero and Detox. But of course, they're the heels. They're the heels of the company. But I know what you're saying. When you see them come out in their heels and they're happy about it, at least be a little like MJF and kind of insult you a little bit.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like, I'll tell you this. Like, I met Sierra at NCW, and she was perfect about it, She charged me for a selfie, but she was like, "I'm going to tell you right now." And she snatched my phone. I have to take it. I'm the selfie queen. Here we go.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yes.
And, and, like, that is fine for me, that kind of a level of interaction. But when they're, like, come out and they're totally, like, happy. "Hey, how'd you like the show?" Yeah, you're right. That is a little kind of cringy and kind of like, okay, what's going on here?
But speaking of MJF, like, it's a dream to be insulted and bullied by him. If we post on, so the only people that would get upset is not me, but the overprotective moms that would go to your feed that know nothing about wrestling. Know how funny that would be?
Yeah. Come back to the Sierra thing for a second. I was in the background being like, okay, please, like, be a heel about this. And when I saw her do it, I was like, yes. I gave my hand, I was like, yes.
Exactly. And I'll never, the other person that I once snatched a good picture with, and he was just miserable to take it, was BRG. He just
BRG 24/7.
He was just, he wouldn't smile. One of the guys was like, one of the people that was working the booth was like, "Can you at least just look happy? The kid's a fan. Just take the damn picture." And I was like...
Brett's my friend, so I can say this, but yeah, that's him 24/7.
And I was like, this is great. I love it. If I can get a picture like that, that's fine by me. That's why that's why I love the indie scene, because you do get that personal level that you don't find at the bigger shows, Smaller the better sometimes. You can meet everybody and just kind of chill and kind of talk and kind of introduce yourself, and you can tell them what you like and... get to know them, especially if you've been following them from promotion to promotion. You see them in different light.
Oh, exactly.
I can watch NCW's behind closed doors and then watch Limitless the Road. I can see the same wrestler like Alexander Lee in 2 different ways, and it's kind of like, whoa, this is great. It shows, the depth of character. It shows what they're really capable of. If they're not a one-show pony trick here.
Well, absolutely. Limitless has got a great project going right now, and it's just so awesome to see so many of these people who I've seen on numerous occasions get opportunities up there. That's awesome.
It is. It really is. We here at the VSW podcast have been really standing behind them. We've been promoting and helping them, with sponsoring some of their matches for their shows. We'll continue to do that while we have the opportunity. Same thing with NCW. Proving Ground as well, and we are also doing it with the Lab, which is another promotion that I'm really interested in seeing kick off. Nothing but just positivity coming out of there, and the roster just seems like, like some of the best friends you could ever want.
Here's the thing about NCW. It's basically like all New England in like one roster, if you think about it.
It really is. You can get the best of the best. I've been to shows and seen, Anthony Green and MSP all the way down, like you said, BRG, Channing Thomas, Sierra, Isana, Little Mean Kathleen. You got, Becker in there now. FAFO, Vern. The list goes on and on. Plus you got, your legends that have been there forever, like Lumberjake and Kellen Thomas.
Kellen's the man.
You
You know who's making me laugh is that Castro guy, how evil he is.
Oh, Kevin Castro. Love Kevin Castro.
He's hilarious.
exactly.
That dude's a character, and I love him.
And that's what I think I really love about NCW, that, I don't think a lot, maybe some people don't appreciate, maybe they do, but I'm from, like I said, the 80s, 90s era where characters were everything. You had the strangest, one of my favorite is George the Animal Steel. The strangest characters ever, and, you have that in NCW. You got strange people like Ike, and,
I like Ike.
and you have these other guys, but you have people like Castro, and everybody has a great kind of a little bit over-the-top character. You got Steve the Turtle out there. You got my favorite, Doc Ozone.
And don't forget, Insane Dick Lane.
Insane Dick Lane. That's just one of the
Dick Lane.
best characters that I could,
And how about that name,
to come
Pit
out.
Daddy Apple Cinnamon?
You got P-Dac. He's always a character to see. Like I said, you got all these people with great gimmicks that you lost a little bit of that in the realism of wrestling era. A lot of people just come out as a wrestler, not as anything else but a wrestler without a gimmick. They're them. They're a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of, I miss that in the olden days where you'd have people, even like in the 90s, you have people come out like Skinner and all these weird gimmicks. And I see that in NCW. I see that sometimes in Limitless. I see that, in the New England scene. And it makes me happy because it is a lost art of, can I play this character? Can I pull it off constantly? Can I even make this character work?
And this is why NCW is my favorite wrestling promotion in New England, because it's a combination of, your old school wrestling, but along with, your new school stuff, and it works perfectly there.
It really,
It is
really
the
does.
most underrated promotion in New England, hands
I
down.
would agree 1,000%.
It is, and everybody that I've ever shown it to, I've gotten people, every Thursday I send out that link. I share it with somebody new at least every Thursday, and everyone's like, wow, that's a great show. I wish you're lucky to live so close to Dedham. And
We're
I'm
just
like,
lucky to live so close to, so many promotions, if you think about it.
oh yeah, even just this last week, we was out at, Chaotic, Beyond.
Chaotic, Beyond, you also got, right up the road, you had where Proving Ground used to run, Beverly, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that, you got, what was it? Liberty Stage Wrestling. I'm not sure if you know about that promotion. I don't think it runs anymore, but that was one of them.
Yeah. What else you got? You got UFO. Are they still running?
Yeah, they got a show coming up in August, as far as I know.
Okay, nice. That's another good
What
promotion.
about Lucky Pro Wrestling?
Lucky Pro. I've seen them posting shows.
I gotta get there more, because I went to one of their shows back in November, and it was awesome. I gotta get back there. It's a drive for me, because I'm in Rhode Island, so
Yeah, I'm in Mass, and it's a little bit of hike too. And but I always get an invite from Vern to go, and I'm like, one of these days I'm just gonna buy the ticket and just make it happen. This will definitely be the year, especially as things are opening up. I've just made it a point to try to reach out, go to different shows.
We got New England All-Stars next week.
New England All-Stars.
We got Top Rope.
Rope coming up, and that's another great promotion. Ryan Drew puts on. Ryan Drew puts on a good show. He does a great job, and you get a lot. You get a lot of variety there.
Ryan does a great job with the Brockton shows. Absolutely.
I could say at the end of the day, I'm proud to be a New England wrestling fan. I'm proud to be, helping the New England, people, get their names out and any other things that I do because, they, at the end of the day, they all deliver.
Same.
Just examples, and not even just about, seeing people deliver, but you see people grow over the years. If you look at this pandemic and, I know you were there. You were at that, 2020 NCW season opener. We saw the the start of the Scrungy Squad at that Ballroom Blitz. If you take that moment right there and fast forward to right now, you could see, Becca's transformation and how far she has come in this.
I'm so proud of her. I really am.
Right? A round of applause and how far she has come from that basic Becca to the leader of the Scrungy Squad, former Chaotic Women's Champion. You know, she kills it on the road. She's killing it in NCW.
I'm not sure if she's listening to this right now, but if you are, I'm super proud of you, and I can't wait to see where else you go. Like, I mean that in the most sincere way.
Exactly, you know, and she's one of the, the wrestlers that I really do try to follow around, because she is going places. You know, another great team that I follow around. I ended up sponsoring their match at the last NCW show, and they're taking off. We're gonna get to see them on AEW, and that's Waves and Curls, and they're another team that I'm just so proud of.
Boys!
Against the Varsity Blondes, no less, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. Have you seen the Brian Pillman documentary on Vice yet?
I gotta get to watching it soon, so I'll definitely check it out though at some point.
It's actually on free on YouTube too.
Oh, word! All right.
But yeah, to go back to that, there is nothing, the first time I saw Waves and Curls, I was like, these people are going somewhere. I'm a big tag team wrestling fan. I love tag teams that are not makeshift teams, too, that actually work together. And we have that in New England. We have a really, really diverse tag team division. You got Waves and Curls, you got Prestige, you got MSP, you got Competition, you got the Kids, you got all these people down the line. And they're all not makeshift tags. They're all actual, tag teams with the same gimmick come out together. They have matching movesets, matching gear, and I love it.
Yeah, also have the Hoods.
Yep.
The Hoods who kind of like started that for New England, if you think about it.
Definitely did.
Bear Country.
You had Middlesex Express.
Yep.
If you want to go even more old school, Cool People, Heavy Hitters.
Oh, yeah, the list goes on from, and even them, they still wrestle. You have Middlesex Express back in action together. You do see Heavy Hitters come at it, in different lights. So it's great to see. And like I said, I love that the tag teams are together.
Retired, I think Heavy Hitters would be like one of the best tag teams to come out in New England.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the teams say look up to those older teams, but, they also throw their own flair into it. And you just, wherever you go, whatever promotion you watch them in, they put on a show. At the last Limitless pay-per-view, that MSP versus Main Event, that was a great tag team match.
And the VSW sponsored match,
It was a sponsored match.
There you go.
But, the Main Event, another, AEW caliber team, and they put on a great match, against MSP for, on a Limitless side. That's what you get in New England. You never know who's going to be on these cards because there is such star power that comes back and forth. Yes, they're getting people, but also you got to remember, Limitless produced a lot of people. Their first champion was MJF. Where's he now? Their second champion was, Anthony Green. Where's he now? Third champion was Casanova. Where's he now? And Garcia's only going to the top.
Garcia's going to be in NXT or AEW within a year.
I don't even want to see him there. I want to see him in New Japan. I don't even think the fans could appreciate him in WWE.
I can see that. Or NWA, for that matter.
Yep. Somewhere that he can make a name for himself. And
then go to AEW down the line.
But honestly, I don't even mind seeing him on the independent scene. I want to see him versus Wheeler Yuta.
That would be amazing.
Down
fantastic.
Let's get the title versus title. Put the Limitless up against the IWTV, and let's see what happened. He gave an unbelievable match against, one of my favorite wrestlers, Lee Moriarty, the other night. And we were there, and it was like almost an hour match, and these people were just, they were killing it. You don't see that type of caliber stuff on TV. But you do see it at an indie show.
Has the best crowds. I'll just flat out say that.
They do. Everybody's into it. It is one of the greatest experiences if you go to a live show.
Oh my God, I've been to a couple Beyond shows, and every single time, it's been amazing there.
It has, and again, you never know who you're gonna see and where you're gonna see them go next.
Oh my God, I was one of my favorite all-time wrestling events I ever went to was the night of MJF's final independent match with him and Josh Briggs from Bash Bros. Remember the name of the show? It was the show over at the beach area, and oh my God, that match was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was outside, right?
Yes.
Yep, I've seen the video of that match, and like it just looked like a great atmosphere and everything, and it, and that's what
they're live to really get it, to really know for sure.
And that's what New England, brings to the table, I think,
Yeah. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
I really wish that, like, Nesson would cover some of these New England promotions or have it syndicated, at least a news recap show once a week for half an hour.
No, but, yeah, I know. But, it is starting to come. They wrote that article about the Garcia-Drake match.
Sports Illustrated, we may add.
Even Pro Wrestling Illustrated, starting to cover more of the indie scene. It's
happening. It's happening.
It is. And, like, where do you see yourself in it now? Obviously, as things come back, do you see yourself trying to jump into a promotion?
I'm more or less just trying to, like, figure out, like, where, like, because I'm not sure. I might have to look for a new school, so might just have to kind of restart from scratch a little bit.
Yeah, plus you guys lost the
Chop Shop.
The Chop Shop, what a blow during the pandemic. A lot of different promotions ran out of there.
Yeah, there have been times where I thought maybe too many have, but yeah.
No, definitely, but now we all take it for granted, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think they'll take a little bit of readjusting to find out, where homes are going to be. But eventually it will be back. I think everybody will be, back in a place to wrestle. Rhode Island is another, part of New England's strong wrestling scene. I'm loving the reunion wrestling that's coming out of there too by Mac Attack. It's a fun time. It's fun, And
it is. Oh, it absolutely is.
And you see a lot of different guys, and you get to see a lot of those guys come down here and wrestle, and vice versa. It's a shared talent pool between between Rhode Island, Mass, and Maine, basically right now.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like coming back to MSP for a second, because I know we were going to talk about them for quite a bit. My favorite match of theirs was at XWA when they worked Workhorsemen.
Yep.
Peace or Fight, I think the event was called. And those two teams knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time I've seen MSP wrestle, whether I've seen them in NZW, I've seen them at Beyond. We went to Please Come Back. I've seen them in Maine. Wherever they go, they just really put it out there. They just put on a show. And they're probably one of the top tag teams right now in the country.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
And like I said, besides all of that, they're amazing human beings outside the ring, and that's even sometimes more important than what they do inside the ring. They have, the skills inside, but, the mindset to match on the outside. What they do, and what they have done, just to fight for different rights and freedoms is amazing. And, I just say I'm proud to, have them as part of New England.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I don't really like to get into politics on here. I don't like to get into any of that, but I've just seen some of the stuff they've done, and I can, really appreciate that. And all my other friends, have done wonderful things. I watch it all on Facebook. I watch it all on Twitter. I might not always, talk about it. I might not always say anything about it, but I do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and with that, I have to say, besides the wrestling, I know you're a big, I see your post too. You're a big Marvel fan.
Oh, I absolutely am.
So I have to ask, what'd you think of WandaVision?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a unique little, something different. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was something that just was kind of out of the norm. I mean, I actually fell in love first episode. I know a lot of people didn't. They waited till the second to like it. When I first watched the first episode, I was high as shit, and I thought it was just the greatest thing ever. I actually watched it twice.
we have that little extra, you know, we enjoy everything a little more.
They pay homages to all the sitcoms in the past.
They do, and and then by the time the second show came out and the story was there, I was like, wow, this really is good. Like, I even got my fiance to watch it, and she hates superhero movies. She won't even watch Spider-Man. She won't watch anything. Like even the original Spider-Mans with
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, she won't even watch them. That's like half a love story, for crying out loud. But
I might be a little bit offended right now.
Right? But she will watch WandaVision. She watched the whole thing, so I will give her kudos for that.
She's coming along.
I've got her to also watch The Mandalorian, which she's not a Star Wars fan at all either.
What?
Yeah, she's never watched any of the films, but she fell in love.
No, right?
She's fell in love with Baby Yoda, and she's watched all of that series.
Not a superhero fan and not a Star Wars fan.
Nope.
What?
But she loves NCW, so I got 1 out of 3, and that was one of the most important things.
Okay.
You can breathe now, I hope, right?
Exactly. She will go to every show. For Christmas, she bought me, I think, a season pass. Like, she's good for that. So if I can get 1 out of 3, I'm happy.
There you go.
But definitely, we're going back to those shows, we have been entertained, a little bit during the pandemic with some great, weekly episodic, whether it be Marvel, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be, whatever it is. We have been graced with some good TV.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And plus, here's one of my biggest flexes. I've seen all the MCU movies from the beginning, like the legit beginning, since Iron Man back in 2008, all the way to here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I cannot wait to watch it from the beginning. My goal is to do it before Black Widow comes out in July.
Hey, don't forget Incredible Hulk and the 2 Spider-Man movies, because we're not on Disney Plus, so...
It's good to know.
Yes.
I've watched all of them, don't get me wrong.
That's my pro tip right there.
I tell you one thing, though, out of all of them, though, I don't know if you included this one, but there was like an 80s or 90s version of Punisher that came out that had like...
Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah. I have to like that one.
I think my favorite Punisher movie, though, was the one with Thomas Jane, though.
That was good, too. But I don't know. There's something about those old ones that was just like... Because they didn't have anything Punisher back then except trading cards and comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
I was an old school, like, X-Men fan back in, like, 90s. And, I used to collect all the Marvel cards and go to the comic stores and buy all the stuff.
That theme song is pisser.
We didn't have all... We didn't have the movie. Exactly. We had the cartoon series. We didn't have no movies. When that first X-Men movie dropped, everybody was, going wild.
Yeah, it was one of the first movies I ever owned. In fact, I still have the VHS tape with me, so...
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at...
What y'all know about that? What y'all know about VHS?
I'm ancient. I remember those days.
I wish, I actually wish I still had my VHSs, because I had so many, Coliseum videos from WWF, and I used to work at Blockbuster. I don't know what you know about that.
I know about Blockbuster.
But I used to work
I know a thing or two about Blockbuster.
I used to work at one of those video stores, and, they would have Field Destroy days, and, the first thing would be all the wrestling tapes that never get rented. So I would just bring them outside, bag them up, put them near my car, and put them in my bag and go home. And it was fully allowed. They told me to take whatever I want. There's no need to destroy good stuff. So I did that, and I had such a great collection of VHS, not to mention other movies too, but yep, VHS definitely fun. And DVD came out after, and it kind of put that
I thought when I was
down.
younger, the first DVD I ever watched with my uncle was actually Tarzan on, and I was so fascinated by the menu button. Little did I know we'd be holding it in our thumbs years later.
Oh, with the DVDs?
Yeah.
My first...
The Disney Tarzan?
Yeah.
Nice.
My first DVD was actually The Matrix, and I didn't have a DVD player at the time. They were kind of expensive, but I'm a computer man, so I bought a DVD-ROM and installed it into my computer. And I was like,
There you
sweet,
go.
now I can watch DVDs, and that's what I did. And the first one I went to, it was actually, I didn't even buy it from where I worked. I went to Hollywood Video and bought it. And I went in there and I bought The Matrix on DVD, and I was just like, this is it. This is my favorite movie now. It's going to be crystal clear, and it was just like mind-blowing to see that difference.
Oh, yeah, Matrix is amazing.
Definitely, it's still one of my favorite movies to this day of just, storytelling and just visuals.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, they're making a fourth one. It's coming out later this year.
Oh yeah, they are. They are bringing that back, and then a lot of the original cast too, right?
Yeah, well, the only ones I know of is like Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and I think Jada Pinkett. I think is also in it. Like the original.
I mean, as long as they don't get rid of Keanu Reeves, I can do it.
I just can't believe I get to say that I'm going to be living in a time where it's a new Matrix movie coming out in theaters.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, like you never would have thought.
Awesome.
It is though, it really is, and a lot of good movies coming out, I think.
Same feeling for what I had when Star Wars Force Awakens came out a couple years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause I was like, holy shit, I live in a time where a new Star Wars movie's coming out, and now a couple years later, I'm like, holy shit, there's a new Matrix.
Yeah, like that's how it was. Like, I remember. I wasn't around. I wasn't around actually at all when the Star Wars first films were first released. I was, I'm older, I'm younger than that, but I was around when they redid them, and they, added the special effects, and I went to the theaters for all three of those. That was a hell of a...
I shot first, damn it.
That was a hell of a time. And then, a couple years later came, when they went to episode 1, and I went and I saw all those.
Misa.
And then I got to, see obviously when they did, 7, 8, 9, and they went back again. So it is kind of cool to be able to do that. And it is like wild when you say, wow, they're actually, I'm seeing this again, and it's even more, and like the universe is expanded.
Yeah, even the universe was expanded even before that, like comics, video games.
Oh, definitely.
All the books.
I've always been like one of the Star Wars people that like always read like, the other stuff that wasn't in movies. One of my favorite...
Wasn't part of their story universe.
Probably my favorite... My favorite comic book series that never made it to the big screen, but did make it to the video game world, was Shadows of the Empire. What happened between episode 5 and, episode 4 and 5 there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or 5 and 6, rather, sorry. But yes, and you saw the Boba Fett story with, what he did with Han, and how Luke, got out and, kind of got even better as a Jedi. And you see
those are great. Those are really good.
And you see the bounty hunter stories. I was always a bounty hunter fan. They didn't really show much in Empire Strikes Back, except that little scene of the 4 guys. But, if you go to the comics or you go to the stories of the books, there's whole, novels written about these guys. So it's pretty cool.
God, yeah.
So it's definitely pretty cool to see.
Oh, for sure.
But I have to say this, BC Kid, we are just about out of time. Wow, time does fly when we're having fun.
It was a pleasure to meet you, man.
I thank you, and we will keep an eye out. Where you're going, what you're doing. Let us know, if you jump back into a promotion or a school, what's going on. We like to see.
I will, man, for sure.
And we will keep in touch. But thank you very much for coming on the show and, shooting the shit with us. We love it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
As well, guys.
Bye. Wow, what a great time, everybody. And that was BC Kid. Great, great individual.
Very knowledgeable individual, too.
He knows a lot about a lot of things. He really is a very smart and bright young person. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We have a bunch of shows coming up. We are doing a Beyond recap, Limitless recap. We got previews coming, reviews coming, everything coming. So just stay tuned with the VSW. Thank you, everybody. Versace Stoner out.
Disable, felt.